He allegedly used one of the victim's cell phones to make taunting calls to her family after the murder.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're taking a closer look at 5 true crime stories from the last few years that have captured the attention of news outlets and true crime enthusiasts everywhere. Number 5. The Delphi Murders. The murders of teenagers Abby Williams and Libby German happened back in 2017 in the city of Delphi. Their bodies were found stabbed on a trail not far from the now infamous Monon High Bridge. For a time, there wasn't much evidence to go off, except for a grainy video found on Libby's phone. Bridge Guy, as the man in the video came to be known, can be seen walking towards the girls and saying, and these words would long ring in the ears of investigators, the victims' families, and crime enthusiasts everywhere.
Someone knows who this individual is.
In October 2022, a man named Richard Allen was arrested and charged. He was found to be in the vicinity of the Monon High Bridge Trail the day of their murders, while an unspent bullet belonging to one of his guns was found near the girls' bodies.
The unused bullet located near one of the victims had been in the chamber of one of Allen's seized firearms.
Despite the fatal stab wounds, it's believed the perpetrator may have used a gun to threaten them, which ties in with the aforementioned guys down the hill. The 51-year-old Richard Allen currently faces 4 counts of murder and 2 felony counts of kidnapping. Allen's trial was set to take place early 2024, but due to some drama involving his lawyers quitting the case and then being reinstated, the trial date has been moved to late 2024. Number 4. Nurse Lucy Letby. This case may not be as well known in the US as it is in the UK, but it's certainly one of the most shocking and polarising true crime stories of the past decade. In August of 2023, a former neonatal nurse at the Countess of Chester Hospital in the UK, Lucy Letby, was sentenced to a whole life order after being found guilty of murdering 7 little ones and attempting to murder 6 others between 2015 and 2016. Letby is said to have purposely injected the young victims with insulin and air and overfed them in order to harm them.
She seemed keen. She seemed competent. There was nothing about her behaviour or her attitude that worried me at all.
Her insistence on working on the intensive care unit and the unexplained decline of patients' health while she was on shift made staff suspicious of Letby.
On the unit, there were typically up to 3 deaths a year. But in 2015, they had that number in the month of June alone.
Letby's motives are widely speculated, with some saying the 34-year-old was trying to involve herself more deeply with a married doctor at the time. Letby was also determined to have been motivated by factitious disorder imposed on another, also known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy. In other words, she would make young patients sick and then swoop in to save them, satisfying her hero complex.
Sometimes the healthcare serial killer will say that I was actually being merciful.
After Letby's arrest, handwritten post-it notes in her possession seemed to act as a confession, with them stating, quote, "I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough to care for them." Letby denied this confession, and while she pleaded not guilty to the murder accusations, she was ultimately found guilty.
At last, her cover has slipped. Lucy Letby will now be known as one of Britain's most notorious criminals.
Number 3. The University of Idaho Murders. In November 2022, 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death in an off-campus residence. Just over a month later, PhD criminology student Bryan Kohberger was arrested and charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of felony burglary. Detectives managed to match the DNA found on a knife sheath left at the scene to Kohberger's father via genetic genealogy, and a swab taken from Bryan Kohberger was found to be an exact match.
But the court documents released today say he made a monumental blunder, leaving that knife sheath next to one of the victims.
A roommate at the location also said they spotted Kohberger on the night of the murders as he allegedly walked right past them, clad in black and wearing a mask. Cell phone reports were also said to place Kohberger at the scene. Kohberger's defense claimed that there is no connection between him and the victims, and therefore no motive. But there have been various speculations from true crime enthusiasts as to what his motives might have been. Some said he wanted to get back at popular students due to being a victim of harassment, while others claimed he wanted to prove his intelligence as a criminology student by committing the perfect crime. The trial of Bryan Kohberger was initially planned for October 2023, but since he denied the right to a speedy trial, it looks likely to happen in summer 2024.
In a statement, his extradition lawyer in Pennsylvania said his client was eager to be exonerated.
Number 2. the Murdock family murders. This story has more threads, lies, and dizzying deception than perhaps all of the other stories on this list combined, and it all centers around Alec Murdock and the affluent Murdock family. We could talk about the boat crash and subsequent death of Mallory Beach, of which Alec's son, Paul, was charged, or the countless insurance fraud accusations, the murder investigation into the Murdock's housekeeper, and substance use disorder of Alec himself. But the real headline grabber is that Alec Murdock has been sentenced to 2 life sentences for the murder of his wife Margaret and his son Paul.
Both Maggie and Paul had been shot in the head, Paul with a shotgun, Maggie with a blackout rifle.
Both Margaret and Paul were shot on the Murdock hunting estate in June 2021, and it's thought that Alec Murdock committed the murders as a way to distract from the various embezzlement accusations being made towards him. He killed so people would take pity on him. That's what the media headlines read anyway. Labelled as South Carolina's, quote, trial of the century, the trial saw various shocking twists and turns, including the fact that Alec Murdock hired a hitman to kill him, so his other son Buster could collect on a life insurance policy.
Murdock claims he's been shot in the head along the side of a road a few miles from his home.
Very recently, Alec Murdock's team made accusations of jury tampering, and they requested a retrial, although it was denied. Alec Murdock is still in prison, but we think this case might still carry some surprises.
Now the appeals process for that conviction, that double conviction, can now push ahead.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Gilgo Beach serial killings. Although this case dates back to a period between 1996 and 2011, which saw a series of murders along the coastline of Gilgo Beach in New York, it's very much current and at the forefront of true crime fans' minds right now. And that's because after almost 30 years, it looks like they've finally caught the infamous Long Island serial killer. These murders came to light after various remains of 11 different victims were found along Gilgo Beach in burlap sacks, of which included multiple female sex workers, a man and a minor. It's still contested whether one of the victims died of accidental drowning, but it's thought that at least 10 of them were victims of one serial killer.
In total, 11 sets of human remains were found in that same area. Authorities were unable to identify a suspect.
As of 2024, the perpetrator is believed to be 59-year-old architect Rex Heuermann. Heuermann was arrested and charged in July 2023, and since then, he's been hit with multiple first-degree murder charges.
In a 14-month period, he had over 200 searches pertaining to the Gilgo investigation.
Various pieces of evidence point towards Heuermann being guilty. This includes his use of burner phones and their corresponding phone records that link him to some of the victims, and his Chevrolet Avalanche, which had been identified by various people of interest. His DNA was also matched to a hair found in one of the burlap sacks containing one of the victims' remains. Heuermann is currently accused of the murder of 4 women, who have come to be known as the Gilgo 4. As of early 2024, the trial is yet to take place.
Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us, a predator that ruined families.
So that's our list. What do you think is the most fascinating true crime story of the last few years? Let us know in the comments below. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.